Hello, hello. Welcome to, I almost started the podcast, the Storm Code. No, welcome to my channel. My name is stormiecalder. I'm a consciousness expert, a high performance coach, a shaman, a spiritual medium, all the cool spiritual things. You know, what I tell people most frequently is I feel like I combine everything spiritual together and then explain it. So it's actually like human, because all these concepts are kind of crazy and they all have different strands of consciousness and someone needs to tie it together. That someone's me. If you want to tap into your highest potential and understand how to ascend in this lifetime, not just from the place of like ascending in consciousness, but like being human while you do it, like combining the 3D and the 5D, tapping into your highest potential and becoming the best version of yourself, then I'm your gal. Go hit subscribe. Please like this video. You guys pump up my analytics if you love me. Please and thank you. Also, leave a comment below as you're going through the video and let me know what resonates or what you want to hear more about. In this video, we're going to be jumping into Buddhic consciousness. Ascension, from the way that I understand it now, I'm just going to like stream of consciousness dump out for you guys what's going on in my diagram here and explain the difference between the higher and the lower self in many different ways, but specifically around Buddhic consciousness, not to be, what would I call, confused with Buddhism specifically, but Buddhism overlaps with Buddhic consciousness. So I'm going to go into specifics around that. I probably will tie in some Buddhism because it's just fun. What else do I want to say? Oh, before we jump in, the Source Code Framework monthly membership is open for enrollment. This is just a pure sample of what I am teaching in the Source Code Framework. So what is that? It's all about recoding your source relationship. So through the eons, through the years, through our consciousness, source has gotten really distorted in how we understand it, how we understand light, different religions, different occult groups, psychic groups, you know, all the things. And pretty much nobody knows what source consciousness actually is and how it actually works. I am an active channel. I live and breathe and eat this work. It is my ongoing daily devotion. I teach as I embody, and all of my teachings are embodied. They're not based in theory from other people. How do I say this? My work is channeled. It's channeled through how I perceive, view, and move through my own consciousness. So the program itself is a monthly membership where I have tons of videos. I'm uploading videos every week. Posts. There are lots of meditations, activations, energy work, and healing, as well as a group chat where I will answer all your questions and like cool stuff. And we talk about all things astrology. We talk about all things spirituality, metaphysics. I will break down just about any questions you have because we're all navigating the same space of like, there are so many religions and so many ideas, like what's real, what's not, how do we combine it all? That's what I'm here to help you do. I'm here to help you rewrite the computer program of your consciousness to tap into the original source code frequency of thought and belief instead of the disrupted version. We bring you back to source. We bring you back to the original code, almost like a computer programmer. So if you're interested, go click the link below. I will link it in the description. It's already linked in the description, and you can learn more about the program and join. If you pay in full, I will give you complimentary access to my program, Break the Mold, which is an incredible program that teaches you how to step out into your highest potential and have a really, really safe way of managing your ego. Like we would call them ego deaths, but it's actually just like being able to break free of the construct of the mental limitations in the mind and create on demand without those limitations, which is severely difficult for most people, which is why I built that program. I make it very fun. It's very easy. It's very relationship based, where I teach you how to understand when is a good time to be bold, when to break the mold, and break the mold and step out of what you were created to become, whether it was culturally from your parents, etc., your guardians, or and become who you create yourself into being, and how to do that. It's about letting go of the false self, accepting and understanding the true self, which is very much what we're going to be going into. So anyway, you get complimentary access to that program if you pay in full for the 9 months through the end of the year for the source code framework. There are many payment options. There's a monthly option. There's a 9-month option. If you sign up for 9 months, I will be doing spirit energy work on the entire group to keep you up for those 9 months energetically. Okay. That's the long scoop. Also for you guys to know, I can't see the comments right now if you're in the actual live stream. So comment below, like in the actual comment section. But I'm happy you're all here with me. Hello, I love you. Welcome. All right, let's like do this thing, shall we? Let me make sure too. I hope we are officially live. I'm going to go double check. Sometimes the software is like funky, huh? Oh, I am. Great. Yes. Okay, perfect. I got to double and triple check this stuff, you know? Like, I feel like it's either sometimes the mic isn't working or the camera or the freaking gear or like whatever. Anyway. Okay. Let me center. Let me see which part of myself I want to pull in for channeling, and then I will go through my little diagram. I'm going to go do the little teacher thing that I do and teach you about Buddhic consciousness and how to understand it. We could also call it Atman. For those of you that know or don't know, that's been a term that I've been meditating with for years, that at some point I will get tattooed on me. Which is the highest realization of the self. What's funny about that, I don't know why I'm being guided to say this, but I am, so it's gonna matter for some reason or another. One of my I've done a lot of spiritual journeying work, okay? Like a lot of shamanic journeys, a lot of daily journeys, a lot of astral travel, a lot of cosmic channeling, with and without people, with and without coaches, with and without shamans. And on one of my ayahuasca journeys, after the journey, I always take with me an intention for a Sanskrit word. Because Sanskrit's one of the original languages. It comes with I forget what they're called, seeds of consciousness within the dialogue. And one of the words I wanted to work with was Atman. And grandmother ayahuasca was like, not yet, sweetheart. She was like, master that one in your real life, and then we'll bring that into ceremony. So I haven't done it yet, but I've been for the last 3 years, I've been obsessed over it. And that's kind of what we're opening up to in this video. So let me think about where I want to take this. This is your blueprint for personal mastery. My spirit guides are like, let's fly. They're like, enough with trying to tap into us. Just run. I'm like, okay. All right. So I'm just going to stream of consciousness. Stream of conscious. Here we go. So here's what I want to talk about. The Buddhic mind. Is it related to Buddhism? Yes. Is it not related to Buddhism? Yes. And I'm going to go into kind of the specifics around that. I used to be, oh my gosh, when I started my awakening journey, I was super into Buddhism. And then I kind of tapered off from it for years and years because there are things that, whether it's on my YouTube channel or whether it's in the source code, I am going to be breaking down religions. And within Buddhism, there are things that that just aren't quite right, that I do want to rewrite and create a more accurate representation of what they are trying to access, but in the highest states of frequencies. Because a lot of Buddhism, it's beautiful, but it's based in escaping suffering, which is inherently a negative concept. So I more like to flip the script and go, well, let's ditch the escaping suffering and let's go into the living life. What does aliveness look like? And that's what I'm going to want to really dive into in a lot of different ways. But I do love Buddhism overall, and I do want to tap into this. So across the religions and across the occult and across all the different explanations of anything esoteric or metaphysical, There are many different ways to ascend. Ascension is when we realize, when we self-realize. There are so many fucking ways to ascend. All right. There are so many ways. What I like to think about ascension, it's kind of like this. It's like a sphere. Okay. People think ascension is linear. They think it's a step-by-step path. It is not. It's a sphere. There are many different strands that come from the core of the sphere and move to the outside of the sphere. The outside of the sphere is the ascension. The inside of the sphere is who you are right now. There are many strands and many frequencies of enlightenment that fill out that sphere. I wish I had, you know what? I do have paper. Hold on. Okay, we're going to get more drawing materials here. So I want you to think about consciousness and ascension like a very dynamic process where I want to say you can't get it wrong, meaning you just have to pick which ascension method you want and then try it and go for it. And here's what I would say. Some of the ascension methods get really effed up when you get towards enlightenment. And then you realize the whole method is kind of fucked up. And then what do when you're on path and you make it 30 years into your life or what have you, and you've done a certain thing or a certain journey or a certain religion or a certain practice and you realize you hate it? A lot of people freak out, give up, and then have a midlife crisis spiritually. But really what could be done is you go, I can't make any mistakes. I'm human. Not from the place of perfection, but from the place of you can't really make a wrong choice. You can just make choice. And you can always start new. You could always start a new strand. And ironically, there are many paths to enlightenment that might take people 20, 30, 50, maybe they'll never even reach it. Most people don't even ever reach enlightenment. They don't realize. Okay, until right before they die. And then all of a sudden they realize. And just because you start one ascension practice or path doesn't mean you have to stay on that path. Something might take 50 years one way because it's harder for your consciousness. And it might take 3 years in a different path, in a different way, in a different methodology because it's easier for you to understand. So I'm going to give you a very wide example. Let's say Christianity. Okay, maybe Christianity is the path that takes 50 years and you just don't fucking get it. You're just I don't understand how the hell I'm supposed to ascend. You wait until the afterlife, and then as long as you do good things, you go to heaven, which, by the way, this is not true, and I will be breaking down these myths as well, because me and Jesus, and me and God, and me and Yahweh, I have issues with Yahweh, by the way, and I will tell you guys about that in source code. I have a lot of different relationships that I've had over the years, spiritually, through my channeling, and I understand Christianity. And where did I want to go with that? There are a lot of people, again, this is just an example. Let's say you're following Christianity or you're following Buddhism. You might not ever become enlightened because it's a specific ascension path that has massive challenges that are there on purpose because it's built for the masses. And let's say you do an offshoot, a different way of ascending, and you're able to actually reach enlightenment in 3 to 5 years, which actually is real, by the way. It's very, very real. You can become an enlightened in the very standard, typical sense that most people perceive it, or assume that maybe I'll reach it in this lifetime. It's you can have that in 3 fucking years. It's just, you just got to be devoted and you got to know which path you're on. So anyways, all this to say, a lot of people choose a big path, a massive path that ends up being a religion or something like that. A lot of people end up in cults. There are small cults, maybe it's the cult of 4 of your family, or maybe you end up in a bigger cult. I'm going to give you another example. I'm in Los Angeles. I did do my Kundalini yoga training, and I also did an Ashtanga training. My Ashtanga training wasn't cult-like because it went through a beautiful feminine practitioner who's the fucking OG in Vermont, that maybe I'll introduce you guys to at some point. We're still connected. And she deculted all of it for me and everyone that she worked with, which was really amazing. Now, Kundalini yoga, is that a cult? Yeah, absolutely. And when I went through it, I had to decult myself in the process. I've had to do this through every spiritual practice I've ever done. And people are like, oh my God, it's a cult. It's yeah, Like, yeah, like, get over it. You know, you went down the wrong path for a certain period of time so that you could find the right path. Because the truth is, there is no one path. The point to me pulling out my Post-it note. Okay. Whoop. Okay, so this is a very long story for me to say that. Ascension is a sphere. You can think about it like those plasma balls in science class, right? That show like static electricity. So you are in the center. This is you in your experience as a human. Okay. This is Ascension, Enlightenment, becoming an ascended master. Okay. As far as ascended mastery goes, people think you just become an ascended master and it's like a done deal. It's not. It's constant. You can become an ascended master, or you become enlightened over a methodology, over a way of being, a way of thinking, a way of perceiving. It has to do with your consciousness, and this comes in threads. So again, ascension is a sphere. So you are following a process or a ladder. It's not linear, but I'm going to show it to you in form of a ladder because I feel like it's easier. Okay, where you are going up the ladder, one piece at a time, increasing and expanding your consciousness until you max out whatever that system is. Da 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 da! I am enlightened! Okay. The first time you become enlightened, and everyone that continues this practice after they've reached enlightenment and then continue it, then build up the sphere. And then that becomes when you really encompass a certain percentage, like 60 to 80% of the sphere of enlightenment, then you step into more of your Buddhic consciousness. Okay. Which is like the more full mastery. There are ascended masters before you hit Buddhic consciousness. And then Buddhic consciousness is the full mastery over everything in all time space for the connection between the soul. I'm going to enjoy this little workshop with you guys, but I probably could teach about this for 6 months. So I will chip away pieces of it. And if you want more, join me in source code, okay? So anyway, so this is one strand or one thread or one path that you could master. This, I'll tell you, the first path I mastered in my enlightenment journey was choice. Personal choice. That was my first thread. And it took me a long time, and I really worked it. I really worked personal choice. I was like, I'm going to understand personal choice and decision making. I'm going to understand discernment, which was another one. High discernment is another thread. Oh my gosh, I used to write them down when I started reaching them, because my angelics and my guardian teams would tell me when I reached ascension on a particular path. And there are different pillars of ascension for humanity. Generally speaking, there are 12 pillars. When you reach those 12, then you become an ascended master. But there are many, many more than 12. There are many more than 12. Like, there are hundreds of ascension frequencies. Any frequency of thought or belief can be mastered. How many thoughts do you have in a fucking day, huh? Like 60,000? Like, okay, well, you can master all of them. So there are 60,000 ways to become an ascended master in this lifetime. It has to do with your thought consciousness. Anyway, personal choice was my first one. It's very dear to me. So personal choice actually is, I was talking about break the mold before. This is break the mold. It's understanding personal choice and what makes you. Do you make you, or do other people make you? What circumstances make you? What do you accept? What do you receive? Who are you? Who the fuck are you? So there are many different strands. We can master any of them. They all bring us to enlightenment. Generally speaking, people think of enlightenment as one path. And it's not. Enlightenment is like you becoming self-aware. completely, sorry, not just self-aware, because self-aware is the process, you becoming self-realized, where you understand how you fit in relationship to this world, between the inside and the outside world, between your lower and higher self, which I'll go back to the Buddha picture I have behind here in a sec, the drawing. Okay, what else do I want to say about this? Generally speaking, when people reach enlightenment, that's one thread of consciousness, like mine was personal choice. And then once they master that, generally speaking, they move on to the next one. What's the next one? Whatever's next on your fucking plate. Like, what do you want to master? I feel like actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was meditating on this yesterday while I was walking. And I was thinking, people just stop learning. Like, humanity's insane. They just they go to school for 4 years and then they're like, I'm never going to learn again. Isn't that great? And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of mental atrophy. I'm definitely not here for it. I'm always learning. So when I master one frequency, I go to the next frequency. What's that thing? It's whatever I want to learn. So what is it right now? I'm mastering arcane magic right now. That's my frequency pattern. I have already mastered the Buddhic consciousness aspect that's kind of behind me, working its way into my next mastery form. So it's we do this over and over and over again. It's a rinse and repeat cycle. As long as you enjoy learning, you're constantly learning. So what's interesting, my guides are bringing me back to the Buddhism is Buddhism is once you relieve yourself of suffering, it's almost like you're done. Now, obviously, Buddhism has a lot of other practices and stuff going on that I am unfamiliar with, and I am not a Buddhist monk by any means, nor have studied under that. So, just to be clear. But it's just one path. It's just one path to enlightenment. And there are so many. And in this modern day, in this modern mind, you can take the curriculum of the universe and just master one after the other after the other. You can master a frequency in a year, a couple of years, so you just move from one to the next to the next. So my most recent mastery is the frequency of Atman. The one before that I mastered in pieces, but it's not done, and I can feel that really clearly, is the frequency of Ananda, which is bliss. I'm still working on that one. Atman was actually easier, which is ironic because regardless, I'll end up sidestepping. Okay, what else do I want to say? Another way to look at this ascension is if you're the person. Other people describe ascension as a spiral, right? And you repeat patterns over and over and over and over again. But on each layer of the spiral, you get better and better and better and better and make better choices and better choices and better choices and better choices. This spiral can also be this as a funnel upside down. That kind of screwed up my little Buddha. My little Buddha. All right. That paper messed it up. Whatever. We keep going. We keep things light here, man. I'm not about curriculum and education being serious. Okay. By the way, this is called soul food. I call this soul food. It is when I give you the soul education, so your soul actually starts downloading the mana, which is the spiritual source energy. It's the golden flow that connects all good things in the universe, and gives you access to food. It's soul food. That's not just a weird word. It's food. It's food for your soul. When your soul is hungry, it gets destructive. It feels porous. It'll get holy. You'll get vampires in your energy and shit. When your soul feels fed, and it needs to be fed 3 times a day, just like the human does. When your soul feels fed, it's fed through information. It's fed through energy work. Not just information. It's fed through wisdom. Okay? Enough of this chat GPT stuff. That's not gonna give you soul food. Sorry, baby. Not gonna happen. We'll go into that in another stream. Stop looking at Chat GPT to do your Ascension curriculum homework. It's not helping, I promise. I have a lot of things to say about it. I'm gonna have to make another video on it. Oh my God, where was I going? This is how you know I'm in flow, because I'm like it's not scattered. It's like I'm in the mana right now, and the mana is not linear. Mana parallel processes. So you gather it in little pieces, and it feeds your soul. I'd say through the crown, but not necessarily. It actually just comes through your soul body. Okay. Let me think about where I want to go with this. I want to tackle this a little bit from the Buddhist perspective and then shift it into my own knowledge. Because I was really sitting with I just got this full understanding the other day where, if you guys haven't read Siddhartha, please do. Oh my God, that's like one of my favorite books. I read it when I read it when I was 19, and then I just like reread it every couple of years. So if you know Buddhism, and I actually think Buddhism is probably do I want to say this? Hold on, let me think. Sometimes I might take things back because I'm constantly working out ideas, but I want to say right now, I think that Buddhism is actually the most accurate ascension practice. Closest to how the soul actually works. And that's not to say that the other religions aren't accurate. They're just not the highest frequencies. And also, I think we have much higher frequencies than Buddhist practices. Like I was saying, it depends on the root of the fruit. And I'm not competing either with like Tibetan monks. They're in a different league of stuff. I'm just kind of tackling the overall. This is fun, right? I'm having fun. I feel like my 19-year-old self is just so happy with me right now. You guys. Okay, thoughts, come back. Buddhic consciousness, Siddhartha, and Buddhism. There are many different ways to ascend. Like I was saying, ascension is a sphere. Okay? There are higher and lower frequencies. There's the most high frequency, there's the absolute truth, and then there are many other truths underneath it. So from my peppering of like working through many different programs, understandings, research. I've always explored many different religions and gods and channeling and everything because I love to understand theology and philosophy. And through my practice, I started with yoga, which is not Buddhist. But it's not Hindu. It's like kind of an in-between. I started with yoga, and then I moved to Buddhism. I rejected Christianity entirely, which had to rear its head back for me at some point because I had to tie that frame of reference back to me because I was raised Christian. I always had like I was straddling understanding Judaism at the same time because I had very dear friends that were Jewish as well as Islamic because one of my best friends is. What else? I've got like so many different frequencies and I understand a lot of the Hindu gods because I've channeled through to them and with Vedic understanding. So anyway, out of the combination of all of these things, they are all true. Okay. Like they all work. They're all true. And then there's like the most high frequency, which I don't think any of the religions really actually have it in a way that can be worked as a modern person. Let's say it like that, okay? As someone that needs to like actually pay their bills. And I think that can be accessed and I teach that. That's what I do. I'm like, we can do it all. I promise. It just takes a different way of working your thought and working your consciousness to be able to do it. So that you don't have to retreat in the mountains somewhere and be a hermit in that way to get the ascension frequencies. It's just not necessary, truly. Because all of these people have done this work, it's like laid a real groundwork for humanity to be able to do it differently now. So out of all of that, I will say that I personally find Buddhism's probably a little bit closer to the actual truth. Now, the soul has a hierarchy of how it works. Like your soul, there's the you, and then there's the much bigger you. We'll put it that way. So there's the you, there's the sixth dimensional higher self, then there's the oversoul, which is like the monad, which is like 24, a pod of 24 souls that are all related, this whole family. And then there's the oversoul, which is like, I forget what it is. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research, but I think it might be 12 units of monads. So it's like, I don't know, another 544 souls. And then above, and that oversoul is managed by a group. That send the Ascension network for the entire soul family that are on the same unit. And then above that, we keep going in different tiers, right? There's the avatar, which is managing many, you could kind of think of like a CEO. The avatar is managing many oversouls. And then there's the Rishi or the Buddha. Every person has access to a Buddha. So in Buddhic consciousness, in Buddhism, there's Buddha, but they don't honor, Buddha's not a god. And that's where I think they got it right. Is that all of the other religions break down gods as the one almighty. And it's not really how it works. There are many. And the truth is you can either displace your own god. What did I write here? Hold on. Oh, maybe I didn't put it on here. Oh yeah, I did. God internal. You can either displace God outside of you, or you can realize God is inside of you. God is a part of you. You're worshiping yourself in continuation of your own consciousness and mastery. What is that? That is the Buddhic consciousness. That's the highest form of your consciousness that you can access as a soul without leaving the soul group. So it is the God form of the soul, of your soul. Everyone has a Buddha. Everyone has a team of Buddhas, actually, that we can channel and work with. They are such a high level of consciousness. It actually takes quite a lot of programming and energy work and meditation to be able to even like meditate with them and have them just do their healing work on you. You don't even need to talk to them by any means. Their frequency is so robust. I've been working with my Buddhas since I was like 22, maybe. Like every few years, I would continue to do meditations and try to work with them because they're such a high frequency. So anyway, there's the Buddhic consciousness that everyone has. Everyone has. And again, going back to Buddhism, I love that they see Buddha as someone that is to be revered and respected, who has a path to enlightenment. A path, not the only path, but a path. Between the lower mind and the higher mind. Between Siddhartha, because Siddhartha is the little Buddha who had to leave behind everything that he knew, the royalty in the flesh, materialism, and break the mold, break all of his relationships, leave all the shit behind in order to access his Buddhic consciousness. Which we'll go into more videos either here or in source code about him sitting under the tree. The wisdom tree, the tree of knowledge, is like absolutely everything. I get so many downloads on the wisdom tree. I'm just like, of course Buddha sat under a tree and then got like of course. And my guides they were telling me for weeks, my spirit guides were like, Stormie, you have snails on your face. And it took me a long time to understand what they were saying to me. They were like, you have snails all over your face. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I was like, oh, wait, the Buddha's got snails in his hair. And it has to do with wisdom. It has to do with patience. Those of you that don't know me, I'm an insanely patient person. To an insane level. I'm just like, it'll work. It's fine. I got the time. Because like, what am I going to do? Rush enlightenment? Like, please. Rush someone's process? Absolutely not. Okay, what do I want to say about this? What I love about this all has to do with relationship. Actually, so let me walk through my little diagram here and then fill in. So the flow of consciousness and awakening, of getting into the Buddhic consciousness, of becoming the most enlightened version of yourself, is referred to as many different terms by many different either religions, languages, aspects of consciousness. So I like to combine things because when I get a strand of data, of information that starts to integrate for me, I don't just hear it in one way, I hear it in many, and then all of a sudden my mind links all of the dots that are similar. So the flow of consciousness and awakening, which is, like I was talking about the mana, it has to do with source consciousness and how you eat the food. The flow is mana. That keeps being, all of my highest guides have been using that term. I did a little bit of research, and there's some backing on that in Peloponnesian culture. The god seed, the god internal, the internal flame, the sacred flame. These are all the same thing. I am. Okay, anyone that follows Saint Germain, anyone that knows that I am, it's like I am God. Like I am, like what are you after you say I am? I am. The I am is the self-realized state. It is the same as all of this. This is all the same. Atman is self-realization. It's Sanskrit. Anima is the soul in Latin. Same thing. They're all the same thing. Okay. They can refer to different aspects of the ascension process, though, even though they're all the same, because each language and each culture pulls through a different flavor. They're almost like different spices. So anima is more the realization of I'm going to bring it in a couple of ways here. I'll just trust that you guys will flow and eat the soul food. I'm like, I really could teach on this for 6 months. Anima is more, the way that I interpret it is it's the realization of the animal body in combination with the body of the world. So anima mundi is the soul of the world. And understanding that your animal body, your vessel, is here to produce the enlightenment. And you cannot become enlightened without understanding your form, without understanding your lower chakras, without working with your primal instinct. And I love that. Now, that may be different than these other terms. The mana is the actual flow. The God internal is the God seed. That could be our 12th strand DNA. Okay, depending on what you follow, like starseed stuff, etc. The I am is the process of like, what are you becoming? How do you identify? Right? And Atman is actually the complete awakening. It is the moment of self-realization. It is self-realization. It's the constant funnel and flow of the relationship. This is why I wanted to talk about the sunscreen today. The relationship between your Buddhic consciousness, and your human consciousness. Okay, and there's always a flow in between these, and each is learning from each other. Obviously, the Buddhic consciousness is much more self-realized. It is the full, and is much more expansive than the human consciousness, but they share. This is collaboration and partnership. You cannot be self-realized without the Buddhic consciousness also learning and being the student. So this is the eternal, what do I want to call this? Teacher-student relationship. Master-student. Is the Buddha consciousness the master? Yes, but it absolutely does not deny the fact that Siddhartha is also the master. They're just different forms of mastery, but they are interconnected in this. I kind of drew it like a little wave, but it's almost like your arc field expands to the full arc field of the Buddha within you. Not Buddha in Buddhism, your Buddha. And our Buddhas take on different vibes. So if you guys have seen the laughing Buddha or the happy Buddha, or like, I don't know, like the Buddha with their hand on their belly and stuff, like mine always is referred to in my channeling as the laughing Buddha. like my higher consciousness is just like, oh, it's all so good. Like we're always laughing, like enjoying ourselves. But there are different forms depending on who you are and depending on your oversoul and how everything is structured, like what expression you'll take on. I want you guys to think of the Buddhic consciousness within yourself as the spiral, as the Siddhartha, which is just the representation of the human, and the journey that he had to go on is the journey of ascension overall. It's realizing that materialism is not your God. It's realizing that relationships you came into are not necessarily healthy. It is the process of constantly releasing attachment. For those of you that don't know the story, Siddhartha was born a prince, I want to say. I think he was supposed to inherit the entire royal king. I don't know if it's a kingdom, palace, whatever. Anyway, I believe he was supposed to be a king. I have to reread the book. But anyway, he left his kingdom. He left the wealth. He left the riches and went to go work on his own. Even though he was not independently wealthy, but he came from wealth. And he went to go become, to work, to understand, to be one with other humans. And he had to release all of his relationships along the way, all the attachments, and have a certain level of healthy detachment, which for you guys to know, the difficulty of human society, and I'm not going to argue with it, but I will say that I'm different in this way and has a lot to do with how I've done my mastery work, is that everybody's tied into their family units. And the family unit is pretty destructive, or it has been destroyed culturally at least. And the attachments we have, we think we have to keep certain people in our lives, and those people often destroy our lives or prevent us from reaching any level of self-realization, self-mastery, or highest potential. Now, I'm not going to be here and tell you to get rid of all your relationships, but I will tell you that I have broken every relationship that has not worked. Like people are just selfish. That's what we could say. I believe in everybody being independent and then coming together. What's it called? Interdependence. It's like, yo, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. Oh, if we vibe right now, we'll come together. If we don't, like, just leave it. Don't force me to do anything. I won't force you to do anything. Like, that's how I work my ascension process, and that works for me. What I've read in text, what I understand of enlightenment of other people, generally speaking, is they're not clinging on to lots of relationships, because the nature of ascension is every time you change and ascend your consciousness, you're going to have to shift again. It's not to say that certain people can't come with you. Maybe you have a great spouse that can actually take the full journey with you. Maybe you got a brother or a sister that can take the full journey with you. Maybe your parents started you off and maybe they get it, and maybe they can't take the full journey, but maybe they're like, yo, I get you. I see you. Yeah, there are so many different ways to do it. What I will say is that I align with Siddhartha. I didn't come into wealth, but I did deny everything that I came in with. And I've had to master and build my entire life by myself with no help. And I'm not saying just not like a little bit of assistance from other humans, but everybody's always like shocked when they meet me or people like me and they hear my real backstory. And they're like, how the hell did you do this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm dedicated. I'm fucking devoted. And when you have no other way, you find a way. Like when there's no cop out, like when the cop out is either death or like imprisonment, either mentally, emotionally, psychologically, or in like violence, like I was going to say, you find a fucking way and you just master it. You just move forward. If you can't move backward anymore, you got to move forward. But not everybody does that. But that's how I've done it. I feel lucky in that way. I have a very, what would I call it? I have a very progressive spirit. Don't back baby in the corner. Don't put baby in the corner. My guides say that to me all the time. I'm like, don't put baby in the corner. I will come out swinging. Anyway. I really am a delightful person to be around. If you get the chance to hang out with me. Anyway, so we're having a good time here. I want you to think about, again, Ascension like a spiral. Okay, or like a wheel, a spiral. So the top of the funnel is up at the Buddhic consciousness, and then it spirals around. So it's like, and you'll see I've got this funnel. It spirals around until it gets lower, and then it surrounds the auric field for the human, the Siddhartha. Okay. Oh God, there's so many ways I could describe this. I can't do it all. Siddhartha, after he goes through his process of ascension and he's like released most of his attachments, which ultimately is about just finding out what you want to attach to. It's not about releasing attachment for the sake of releasing attachment. It's about letting go to things that are no longer working for you and understanding what you prioritize, what's important to you, what's true for your heart. If we want to loop that into the Christian stuff, or Christ consciousness, that has to do with developing and understanding your sacred heart, the altar of your sacred heart, which is the crystalline heart. Also, different religions master different things. So Buddhism, I really feel like masters thought consciousness and mindfulness. Christianity, or just Christ consciousness in general, masters the crystalline sacred heart. Let's just start there. That's all I got for now. Well, actually, no, I got more. Also, Judaism masters the chosen. Those of you that resonate with 144,000, Judaism is like the original template for what it is to be chosen by God. So that's their frequency of belief, what they're trying to understand and work through. There are so many different things. I just want to talk about all of them. Will you please join me? This is my life. I get so thrilled. Like, the more I jump into this stuff and I realize none of it's crazy. Like, people want to hear about it. I'm going to teach about consciousness. I'm just like, oh my God, my job is amazing. Like, I get to do this? Like, who invented my life for me? Oh, me. I did it intentionally. Who knew? Follow the journey. Okay, I feel wild today. You guys have got me in wild mode. So what I labeled here is Atman. The self-realization is this field of energy. It is the spiral or the funnel or the flow between the little human down here, the Siddhartha, who's the one that is in the process of understanding, the process of prioritization, the process of mastery, and the master. The master is not dominating over our little human here, though. Truly. And that's their biggest work, is trying to be the gentle giant. It's like literally, they're huge. The Buddhic consciousness, these beings are huge, 60 feet tall. Like, they're, oh my God. So it's like, if you're a giant, and this is what they're working on, their consciousness, their mastery, once they become the Buddhic consciousness, and they could just like literally transcend into the nothingness, like just become nirvana, become totally enlightened, like the dust of everything. And they choose to hold back and to teach because they learn from teaching all of us that are feeding back up the funnel, that have access to this. And a lot of their consciousness is to be the gentle giant and to hold the consciousness of the human without harming it. Which, if you're a 60-foot tall, blue translucent Buddhic being, good luck. You know, they really like, these are huge creatures, parts of consciousness. They're giant. They could be destructive, but they choose to be compassionate. They choose to be loving because they understand that nothing can harm them. They are the biggest thing. They are the king of the jungle. When you're the king, there's nothing like, what do you like? Also, I'm saying that like gently, but Buddha consciousness is not, it's genderless. It's not masculine or feminine. It's just genderless. They can choose, this being can choose a masculine or feminine expression. They have both in equal proportion. They are genderless. And their work is to hold like the flower of the consciousness of a human without damaging it. And to learn from the delicate nature of the human mind, influencing it without forcing it. It's really a process for the Buddhic consciousness. Now, obviously, they're good at this, but there are different levels to which we reach and talk to, or convene with, or meditate with, or heal with within ourselves. That like they're all at different processes. Like the Buddha isn't just like, yes, it's realized, but it's still learning. That's the point of this whole fucking process of ascension. It is a constant give and take, a constant flow of mana, of teaching, and of receiving. Of being the master, the student, and exchanging. Or what else my guides also call it the sage and the mage. So we've got the sage and the mage. Right? The mage is the human. But also the human can be the sage. And the Buddhic consciousness can be the mage. And it's constantly turning and changing. It's the yin-yang symbol. It's just happening all of the time. And when we realize that flow, we realize the importance of what it is to be human. That there is nothing too small to learn from. And this is what I would call the anima. Like the anima is the soul. It is the larger consciousness as well. But I identify the anima, which is the Latin term, specifically to the primal. So I identify it to the human. And that's something that we have access to, that we can have access to in this life, is our anima. Which really is the same as Atman. But anyway, the Buddha consciousness is the fully realized version of our soul, okay? Fully, completely realized. We could also call it the higher mind, or what I would call the highest mind, okay? So, and that's why what I like about Buddhism is they don't say that Buddha's a god, but they honor it as the highest of that soul, or of the soul, or as an example to be modeled. And there, as human consciousness, we have access to a lower mind and a higher mind in general. So our lower mind is the one that is running the human show. The lower mind is the one that's like getting in your car, driving, getting food for the day, making dinner, like going to work. Like that's your lower mind, okay? The higher mind is your higher self. It's the higher frequencies of you. This is when we start doing intuitive and psychic work and psychic development, we start working with the higher mind and understanding the relationship and translating ability between your lower mind and your higher mind, and which gear you're in, how to work those gears, and how to get what you need at any moment. The higher mind is the bird eye view of what's going on in your humanity. The lower mind is literally, actually we can think about it this way. The higher mind is like if you were to get in a plane and fly above, it's the higher bandwidth frequencies. You can kind of see what's going on in your humanity and navigate from the sky, the air. And then there's your lower mind, which is like you getting in a car, and actually having to drive on a route without seeing the entire view of the blueprint. It's like the step-by-step actions, okay? So if you understand just that part of higher mind and lower mind, then the Buddhic consciousness is not necessarily the higher mind, it's the highest mind. So if you guys have heard of God consciousness, depending on different things that I channel, it comes through in many different ways. What I'll say in general is it comes across as the most high. So across all of my guides, there are different characters that there are different godheads that they call the Most High. But here's the truth. There's the Most High externally, which are the organizers, the architects of the universe, of the multiverse, of the multiverse. Dear God, this gets exhausting. Welcome to Expanding Consciousness. Then there's the Most High internal. Okay, and the Most High internal actually is what's organizing everything. It's a joke that we think that God's outside of ourselves. Is it? Yes, but it's a distortion, because the truth is you are the most high, not you as a human. You and your consciousness and your access to work your full expansion, which I'd love to say would take a lifetime, because I think it would. I mean, I'm 37. I have access to my Buddhic consciousness. Like, it takes time. I know other people that have as well, but like they've also devoted their entire life to this. So I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying, like, I'm teaching. Be here for the journey. Don't try to shortcut it. What else do I want to say? I wanted to talk about. I was talking about that because I want you to think about the Buddhic consciousness as the higher mind, but I needed to explain it before. Like, there's a lower mind and higher mind as a human, and that's not what I'm referring to. So when I say higher mind, I mean it's the most high. It's the most high of you. It's your internal God seed expanded. Okay. This also I identify with the gamma wave brain frequency. It's the fastest brain frequency. It's the unity consciousness. Okay. It's the one that's merged with the one. When we are in this mind, everything is the same. Like, it's like crazy. When I do my meditations and I can access that state of mind, I feel like I can just change things in front of me. Like, it's where I end up. I feel like I'm tripping, or people that encounter me will be like, I feel like this is a trip. A sober trip. And I'm like, yeah, it is, because I'm accessing those states of mind. So then it's like all of a sudden everything does become related, and everything is a fractal pattern of the holographic reality from which we work. So it's so magical. It's so magical. It's so fun. And then what I would say that this human version here, down here, is the partially realized lower mind. Not to be confused with the reptile mind. This is like the alpha wave. This is the thinking mind. I should have wrote this over here. We'll do it like this, okay? Partial realized. Anyway, these two are in communication and in relationship. And this is what I think most people miss about God consciousness, whether it's the internal God seed, or whether it's an external God consciousness, which is just as real. It just depends on which part you're working with. Is that they think it's a one-way street. They're like, God Almighty is just speaking down to me. Like, I have to follow all these rules or I'm going to be smited. You might. It depends on the God. Not when you're working with Buddhic consciousness. This is a gentle process. There is much mental interference to access this consciousness. There are too many, both angels and demons and archons, working around the fucking clock to make sure that humanity does not get access to this. Because this is the God seed. This is the internal God seed, the 12th strand DNA, completely awakened, enlightened, and working within each human, that, I'm going to be honest, God and Satan just have not been into being accessed by us. And we'll get into this in source code and or another video on here. There's like God consciousness. There's demonic consciousness. And this is the realm that we live in, that we have to navigate, is this. It's this constant angel and demon on the shoulders. Like, who do I want to listen to? It's like, shut up, listen to yourself. Listen to you. There is no God outside of you. Is there? Yes, but like it's not the absolute truth. They are truths, and I've channeled all of them, and I'm happy to talk about them, both pros and cons. But the universal absolute truth is you. You have access to this. And we just have to get out of the distortions, the distorted ways of thinking, the distorted ways of believing. Anything that is not the absolute truth. What's the absolute truth? You have access to all of this inside of you. Why give that to anyone? It's communion between you and you. The marriage is between you and you. You and your higher Buddhic consciousness. I can't remember. I might talk about this in a video I'm going to be posting soon. But what marriage means spiritually, like marriage between people, is just a representation of. It's in its most ideal state of understanding. Like the absolute truth is that marriage is really this. It's this relationship, and then that gets, in an ideal place, would be reflected in other humans around you, but it's not about that. It's about this. Can you realize yourself? Can you realize your highest God potential in you? Bring it out of you. Understand it. Work with it. Flow with it. It's a constant temperance. This is a constant alchemical process. It's a constant creation energy. Most people get stuck somewhere and can't keep working it. This is alchemy, constant alchemy. It doesn't stop. So what I like about what I've been describing, this relationship, is that God is your partner. And that's what like marriage is, commitment is. Like, what is fucking commitment? What is lifelong commitment? It's your commitment to be able to work between your alchemy, between the master and the mage, the sage and the mage, or the master and. There's a flip in the script. It can either be the student or the slave, which is what human is. We confuse these things a lot. Higher God consciousness loves to put us in the slave category, and Satan does too. And when I say Satan, it's so funny because I like never use that term. My guides keep telling me to make it very black and white. They're like, God, Satan, instead of me calling it forces or the elements or like how things are working. Like they just keep saying, at the end of the day, it's either a demonic consciousness or an angelic consciousness, and both have pros and cons. Which side of it are you working and how? Between demonic and angelic, I'll always choose angelic, but angelic has a lot of shit too. I will not deny it. Also, for those of you to know, I don't know, I feel like this frequency needs to come through. I'm like a split character. I don't know how to describe this. I can manage both. Like, what would you call it? Darkness. I can manage both the shadow consciousness and the light consciousness to full contribution. So, like, I'm not going to go into this in depth, but, like, a lot of angelic beings will just stay on the angelic side. Like, I'm one of those that can negotiate with the dark side and come back. Like, I could be like, yo, this is what we need. Like, I know how to talk their talk. I just don't join them. Angelic stuff has its own issues too. We'll get there. Anyway, I like to be in the arcane side of things instead. This has taken me 20 years of working this work, but like, I'm very angelic. I'm highly crystalline in my heart and in my energy. But I would say for myself, and what I'm teaching is the arcane magic, the elemental magic is the most honest way through the system. As much as I love angelic consciousness, it gets very distorted at the most high. So like the Buddhic, but it's not the Buddhic. It's like the most high frequency, but in the universe it's distorted because they lead you outside of the self to find God instead of inside of the self. And that small distortion creates a lot of distortion. So anyway, we come back to the Buddha, the little Buddha belly. What else did I want to say? All of this comes down to God, this relationship. This is, we're going to call this God, okay? It's your internal God. As God becoming your partner, this is you're co-creating with God's source intelligence, where you have to match the vibrational energy of this state of awareness, of your Buddhic consciousness, in order to receive and meet your own needs of needing direction or needing a God or needing your ability to magically just like change your environment, like mold reality. How are you going to mold reality? You're molding it with some sort of Godhead because they are all the Buddhic consciousnesses, right? Like, I don't want to explain this yet. I'll have to do this in another video. I got to like watch some. I have so much mastery in so many different areas that like I'll shoot off in a million different things and then I got to like come back. And that's also not to deny my student. I'm also like a total student, like all the fucking time. Okay. So anyway, it has to do with that relationship. And to meet your own needs, your needs must be met through resourcefulness. That resourcefulness is your ability to manage and find your mana, which is this like source flow in between and all around this ascension funnel, ascension spiral. Between the fully realized Buddha consciousness and the partially realized lower consciousness of the human. This is a causal nature. And the relationship is the realization, the self-realization, the Atman, is in realizing that both are in ascent. So it's not like the Buddha is stable and stoic, and we're the only ones ascending up to it. The cycle, what we're working in our own ascension cycle, the Buddha is working through in its own ascension cycle around the entire realm. Like, as a god, creating anything and everything. It's incredible. Both are in ascent. Both are moving in synchronization together. Both are in the dance. They learn from each other. They're both in some level of mastery. Obviously, we could say the Buddhic is much more in mastery because it is. But when you are of that level of mastery, you understand that everything needs to be mastered, which means you have to be a student. There's something to learn from the human. All the time. All the time they're trying to learn from us. When we have their attention, when we have their respect, and they need that, otherwise they won't work with us. When they have our reverence, they're not a god, but they are your god. Does that make sense? It's like each of us could have access to this if we wanted it through devotion, through practice, through reverence. Most people need to practice devotion and reverence to a God external in order to understand what that devotion looks like, to then reflect it internally to find their own Buddhic consciousness. This relationship is the God. It is the I. It is it's the largest representation of the third eye. Not the third eye in you, but the the all-seeing. Not to be confused with the Illuminati, by the way, which we'll go into in future videos and things, because people confuse the I am with the fallen, with the distortion. The Illuminati is the distortion frequency. Freemasonry is the distortion. I used to never think about that stuff or talk about it, and now I realize I have to talk about it because there's way too much distortion everywhere. So if I can't call it out, then you guys will mix it somewhere and be like, oh, that's it. It's like, no. There's a difference. The I that's on the back of every dollar bill and this I are different. This relationship is the God. It is the I. It is the I am. It is the seen. It is the unseen. It is the potential. It is the unknown. It is the realization. It is creating thought into form. It is the aliveness of thought ideas. It is the thoughtless mind that then decides to create from the void into something. It is the anima. It is the Atman. It is the God seed. And it is the ability to connect it all through relationship, through partnership, through collaboration, co-creation, interdependence. To think that any level of God consciousness is a top-down thing is to completely miss the boat for any level of enlightenment. It is the co-creation. If God is unwilling to co-create, it's not a God. It's in a master-slave relationship, and it just depends on the day which side of it it's on. Every God has another master, which makes it a slave to the next master. So it's like, I'll explain this at some point, whether on YouTube or source code, probably in source code framework. We're in a realm that is constantly trying to understand the difference between the student and the slave. To be underneath someone with greater mastery. This realm is actively trying to put all of us in student or slave relationships to try to understand that. Now, the truth is the slave is just never necessary. It's the lowest form of consciousness. It is never necessary. And humans just want to fucking do it all the time. You know, whether it's, and it's not just humans, even the Godheads on this structure of ascension, just like, it's like, can you guys, enough with the slave shit, like the slave consciousness. If you guys don't understand slave consciousness, it's hell. It's hell. It's purgatory. It's Satan. You know, that people think it's like an external thing. It's in your fucking mind. You are either a slave to your thoughts, you are either imprisoned, or you are free. 99.9% of people are imprisoned. I don't know. My guides fed something through last week, and they were like, the highest potential of this reality is that 1 billion people enter some level of enlightenment and freedom. 1 billion people stay in purgatory and are completely enslaved. And then the other 6 billion people are non-player characters. Like, that's all. Like, I don't know. That's what's been told to me. Again, I'm constantly channeling, so I will constantly update and speak, and I might change things as I go, depending on what's given to me. Okay, so let me tap into my channel. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Anyway, I love this relationship. I love it so much. It's why I came on stream to talk about it today. This has been coming through my dreams. It's been like literally I've been seeing the entire relationship for myself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish people knew this. It's just so, I don't know if I'm completely doing it justice, but I'm trying. Like, it's so fruitful. It's so beautiful. It's so magic because it's, you know, it's a flow. It's a flow. It's the yin yang symbol, right? Like, one is dark, one is light, but it's the yin yang is not a static symbol. It's constantly moving. Like, the Buddhic is not stoic. This part of us is constantly co-creating with us and loves us so much that will allow us to co-create things that are nightmares or that are uncomfortable or that are like rigid or that are dualistic in our thinking. Or that are enslavement patterns mentally, because it's so loving. And it's like so magical because we can always work on our own frame of reference and our own consciousness to understand that we are co-creating, that this is causal. And for you to understand that the human, there's nothing wrong with the human is partially realized. Could the human be fully realized? Yes, through the eyes of the Buddha consciousness. So when you're functioning as one unit, that's what the marriage is, the commitment to the soul is. When you're functioning as one unit, then the human becomes fully realized because the human is seeing through the eye of God, of the internal, of the God seed, of source, and is managing our own source as a core. Hold on, I want to... Does that look funky? Okay, so like then it becomes a core, like, I don't know how else to describe this. A core where the Buddhic is at the top The human is below. But this is it's like a core processor. I'm being shown it like a core processor for a computer. I'm being shown it like a nuclear core. It's like the core is the communication between you and your, I would say higher self, but this is much, much higher than the higher self. But regardless, it's like a complete communication between you and your highest. And then you're working in unison, both top down and bottom up, which also we could show as the Merkaba, right? And this is how we move through time, space. Oh, the Merkaba is the heart consciousness. It's how, generally speaking, our vessels move through time, space, connecting our lower and higher aspects of our energy. But like, this is a constant process. This never stops. And it creates a lot of movement. It creates a storm in your consciousness. This is the storm. It's a constant quantum processing storm. And then you become the eye of the storm between you and your Buddha in the center. You become the creator. You access the creator ability of the Buddha to change your reality as you see fit from the eye of the storm. And that's the dance. It's all about process and relationship. This is self-realization in a nutshell, my friends. Oh, gosh. Y'all, this has been a 19-year journey for me, so the funny thing about yoga is they generally say if you're constantly practicing, that it takes about 20 years. And then Kundalini yoga is on a 3 to 5 year, but Kundalini yoga doesn't touch on all of, like, if you take 20 years of Ascension and pack it into 3 years without, it can be done, but God, there's so many things I could talk about here. Because I said earlier, it can be done. It can be done, and it can be done easier from the yogic practice, because yoga has to do with how you're harnessing your heat and your inner power. I have my training in Ashtanga and Kundalini. They are both fire-based practices. Ashtanga is about building heat over time, but it's heat for joy. Kundalini, the way I would break it down, is about building heat for power. What you do with that power, Kundalini yoga never teaches you. Not appropriately. And Ashtanga yoga often creates a long burn and overheats, and then you don't know what to do. But they're like amazing humans. So it's like, I don't know. I've been combining so many different aspects of consciousness, but the point here is a standard yogic protocol for enlightenment is like 20 years. So I actually feel like I'm reaching my my maturation point for the practices I started when I was young. Is there anything else I want to say about that? I think what you guys will find with me that I find enjoyable, and I think you'll find it enjoyable, is that I've studied so many different things. I have channeled so many different things. I'm so devoted, so fucking devoted, like a monk. Like I've been doing this for a very long time, and I'm so devoted to it. I used to do it behind the scenes and never tell anyone while I was running my marketing career. And then I had a big ego death, and I had to, my guides gave me an ultimatum. I'm not going to lie to you. The Akashic Records told me they were going to make my life a living hell if I didn't make the switch over to coaching. And because I understand spirit works in heaven and hell a lot, I was like, no need for hell. That's fine. I'll bite the bullet. The first time I came out about being spiritual, oh my God. You guys, the first video on my channel, I thought I was going to die. Also, that video is ridiculous. I watched it the other day. It's not ridiculous, but I might do a reaction video for you guys because, like, the first videos on my channel, I'm like, who is she? What a baby. It's like 4 years ago. Like, it's like crazy. It's not that long ago. You can make such a shift. Such a huge shift in a year, 2 years, 4 years. You could become a completely elevated, transformed version of yourself in 4 years. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. We can do so much. We can do so much as humans in our human consciousness. But anyway, I think what you'll enjoy about my approach is that I've mastered and explored many different forms of consciousness, many different ways. I'm always so open. Like I said, I love learning about religion and theology and philosophy. I've read a lot of philosophy through the years, not recently, but earlier in my life. And I took all of these different aspects of self and then jumped into channeling and psychology, which is a whole other branch of this stuff, and digested it for myself with devotion. I live this every moment of every day. And I've brought them all together, and now I have a totally vibrant understanding of ascension, of mastery, of studentry, that process in between the two, of God. I've had a very challenged relationship with God my entire life. And I'm happy to talk about it in many different ways, because that's how I help people. Is I've worked through every process of like, what is God? What I feel like that's been my whole thing. When I was 14, I was like, I don't think God exists. And then when I was 16, I was like, I'm agnostic. And my parents were like, whatever. I come from a mix of people that believe in God and atheism, so it's just like all over. And then through the years, I refused to use the word God until like 6 years ago. I was like, no. So I've had to understand all levels of what source means, and I really get it now in many different ways, and I can explain it in whatever way you need to hear to make your next step in evolution. And I do love the term God, but it does mean many different things. And I can explain the many different things. So anyway, my perspective, I think what you guys will love overall, is that I can explain the many different things. I can bring them all together and connect the dots. I will help you connect the dots, including, and I'm very excited to do this at some point, but it's on my list of things, including fairy tales. Like, fairy tales and archetypal patterns and movies, the Disney movies, like, have so much to do with higher consciousness. And I want to connect all of those dots for all of you. It's so beautiful. Like, we have so much thought consciousness in front of us all of the time that is showing us the path. And we just never knew how to piece it all together. Because we're at a very unique day and age in this time, in this year, in this process. Because we have access to the internet, because we have access of sharing so many ideas so quickly. It's like it's like everything's being molded together so that we can begin to really understand why the fuck we come to be human. Like, what's the purpose of being human? To do this, to explore, to find your way through, to create preference, to get to know who you are, and hopefully to avoid the whole master-slave relationship in purgatory, which not that many people get out of. That's the karmic cycle, right? If we go back to Buddhism, it's like the purpose of Buddhism is like escaping suffering. It's like releasing the suffering. And the suffering is identified to karma. And again, I'll do this probably in source code in another video somewhere else. I have a lot to say about there's the karmic cycles, and then you can actually release and get out of the karmic cycles entirely. But it takes a different ascension process. What's karmic cycles? Attachment. What are you attached to? What do you think? What are you growing in your mind? And do you like it? That's karma. What choices are you making? Anyway, that's what I've got. Thank you for joining me, you guys. If you loved this and you want to go deep, 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 deep with me and learn about the universe and learn about the different channels, God, I just uploaded a few videos on the fairy realm in the source code framework. Come join us in the source code framework. It's a monthly membership where I educate and teach all about source consciousness and the many ways it comes through to help connect the dots so that you can understand this universe, so you can understand your experience, your mental landscape, your psychology, your emotional landscape, and understand I'm so excited to pull in so many different aspects of fantasy and like, because and sci-fi, because it's not just random. I'm here to connect the dots for you. The fairy realm, it's not just these little like dancing creatures with wings. Like I have so many things to say about their ability to ascend and what I learned from them. That's all going to be downloaded into the source code. I'm going to be talking about, there are just so many aspects of consciousness. If you guys want to hear more about the starseed galactic councils and stuff, I'll talk about that. I'm kind of over that stuff because I've channeled it for a long time, but I'm happy to talk about it. The godheads, there's the most high, there's the most high. There are so many different godheads and forms that do actually control the universe that are separate from what I've described here, the Buddhic consciousness. Some of them are and are not in their own Buddhic consciousness, but I will tell you the original Buddhic consciousness does not preach itself as a god for others. It's the god of the self. And that's just kind of where it hangs out. We are going to be going into deep shamanism. So understanding the elementals, the arcane magic realm, which I don't know anyone that has mastered it that I know, but I know it. The elementals work with me directly. The elements and the elementals, it's part of my mastery. It's why my name is Stormie. It's part of my, not just life purpose, but my spiritual mission is working with the elements. So I teach shamanism from that level of consciousness of understanding element and elementals and how to make it modern and work with it, and understanding the soul and how to connect the soul to the human and to the planet, while also understanding God's source power, like the architect, the divine intelligence, divine power, your godly power. And then working all of that through transmutation and alchemy. We're going to cover all the things. I am just like pouring out into this program. I love that it's just a monthly membership because like whenever I have an idea, I'm shooting a video. And I'm like, oh, we'll know about this. We'll know about this. This is how this works. This is how this works. I just know a lot of things and I can't keep them trapped in my mind. So I'm excited to share them with you guys. If you're interested, go check out the link below. It's called the Source Code. It is a framework for personal resource and mastery, becoming the resourceful human that knows how to work with God, which is divine intelligence, how to work with the arcane, which has a lot to do with natural intelligence, natural evolution, and nature. And then how to work with your human mind, your human consciousness, your human understanding, your ability to meet your own needs on the 3D, while understanding how to gain power and acceleration of those needs being met from the 5D, which we could call manifestation, but generally speaking, it's working with God powers and understanding them. Because God helps you move the timelines and jump the timelines. Power. It's how much power do you have? How do you carry it? How do you maintain it? So that's what I've got. I adore you all. Thank you for joining me. Please let me know in the comments below. Leave a comment. Let me know what resonated or what you want to learn more about, or if anything stuck out to you. Please like this video, sub, and check out the source code. I've also got several free trainings. I always link them in my videos. If you scroll down through the description, if you want to check out your own Akashic records, or work with a shamanic healing activation. I've got a cash infusion meditation, which is an activation to learn how to work with money. Like I've got several things down there. Go check those out. I've also got a twin flame training. Those are free as well. So you can go check that out. But otherwise, I would love to see you in source code. Feel free to email me if you have any questions or want to know if it's a right fit for you or want me to hold space to co-create the manifestation of you actually being able to enroll. And other than that, I think that's what I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I have so much love for each and every one of you. Thank you, and I will see you soon.